The camera never lies, but apparently my wife does. I'm standing in Morrison's jewelry, holding a $3,000 necklace that was supposed to be Tessa's surprise birthday gift, when I hear her voice drifting from the coffee shop next door. My heart does that stupid flutter thing it still does after 15 years of marriage, until I catch the actual words. He won't suspect a thing, Evan. I told him I'm at the design expo in Boulder. We'll have the whole weekend. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. The necklace suddenly weighs about 50 pounds in my hands. Through the jewelry store's window, I can see my wife of 15 years leaning across a small table, her fingers intertwined with those of Evan Cross, the contractor who's been helping with our kitchen renovation for the past 3 months. Are you sure he doesn't know? Evan's voice carries that cocky confidence I've always found irritating. Now I know why. Grant's completely clueless. He's so buried in his photography work, I could probably move you into the guest room and he'd think you were a new piece of furniture. The sales clerk asks if I need help, but I can't form words. I'm too busy watching my wife laugh at her own joke about my obliviousness while she plans her romantic getaway with the man who installed our new granite countertops. I should go, Tessa says, checking her watch. I need to pack for my business trip. I duck behind a display case like some kind of private investigator in a bad movie. Tessa walks past the jewelry store window, phone pressed to her ear, completely unaware that her husband is crouched behind a case of engagement rings, holding the birthday gift she'll never receive. The irony isn't lost on me. I'm a commercial photographer who makes his living capturing the truth in images, and I've been blind to what's happening in my own house. I drive home in a daze, the unwrapped necklace sitting in the passenger seat like evidence. Our house looks different now, like I'm seeing it through a new lens. The kitchen where Evan spent so many late evenings finishing up work. The living room where Tessa would take mysterious phone calls, always stepping outside for privacy. Tessa's car is in the driveway. I sit in mine for a full 10 minutes, trying to figure out what to say. Do I confront her immediately? Do I pretend I didn't hear anything? Do I follow her to Boulder and catch them in the act like some kind of jealous stalker? I choose option 4. I go inside and act normal while my brain processes this information. Hey, honey, Tessa calls from upstairs. How was your day? Fine, I call back, my voice somehow steady. Just the usual photo shoots. She comes down wearing a new dress I don't recognize, her hair done in that way that means she's trying to impress someone who isn't me. I'm leaving for the expo early tomorrow morning, she says, not quite meeting my eyes. Probably won't be back until Sunday evening. Right, the expo. I set the jewelry box on the kitchen counter. I got you something for your birthday next week. Her face lights up with what looks like genuine excitement, which somehow makes this worse. Really? What is it? Open it. She tears off the wrapping paper with the enthusiasm of a child on Christmas morning. When she sees the necklace, her mouth falls open. Grant, this is beautiful. It must have cost a fortune. You're worth it, I say, and I mean it, even now, even knowing what I know. She throws her arms around me, and for a moment, I almost convince myself I misheard the conversation at the coffee shop. This is my Tessa, the woman who cried at our wedding, who held my hand through my father's funeral, who laughs at my terrible jokes. But when she pulls back, I see something in her eyes that wasn't there before. Or maybe it was always there, and I just wasn't looking hard enough. I love you, she says, fastening the necklace around her neck. I love you too, I reply automatically. She goes upstairs to pack, humming some song I don't recognize. I stand in our kitchen, surrounded by Evan's handiwork, and try to figure out how long I've been living in a lie. My phone buzzes with a text from Joel, my best friend since college. Beer tonight? Sarah's working late. I text back, "Rain check. Tessa's leaving town tomorrow. Want to spend the evening with her?" It's not entirely untrue. I do want to spend the evening with her. I want to study her face, catalog her tells, figure out how long this has been going on. I want to memorize the woman I married before she disappears entirely. That night, we order Thai food and watch a movie. Tessa seems distracted, checking her phone every few minutes. Each buzz makes my stomach clench. "Work stuff?" I ask after the fifth interruption. "Just coordinating with the other designers for tomorrow," she says, without looking up from her screen. I nod and pretend to focus on the movie, but I'm actually watching her reflection in the black television screen. She's smiling at her phone in a way she hasn't smiled at me in months. When we go to bed, she kisses me goodnight with what feels like guilt. I lie awake, listening to her breathe, wondering if she's thinking about him. At 6 in the morning, I watch from our bedroom window as she loads her suitcase into her car. She's wearing the necklace I bought her, which feels like salt in a wound I'm still discovering. She waves goodbye from the driveway, and I wave back like the oblivious husband she thinks I am. But I'm not oblivious anymore. After Tessa leaves, I sit in my home office staring at my computer screen, trying to work on a product shoot for a local furniture company. The irony of photographing bedroom sets isn't lost on me. I can't concentrate. Every few minutes, I find myself checking Tessa's location on Find My Friends. She's heading west on I-70, toward the mountains, toward Boulder, where the design expo is supposedly happening, toward Evan. Around noon, curiosity gets the better of me. I call the Boulder Convention Center. "Hi, I'm trying to get information about the Interior Design Expo this weekend." "I'm sorry, sir, but we don't have any design events scheduled this weekend. Our next interior design show isn't until November." I thank her and hang up, staring at the phone like it might offer some explanation other than the obvious one. My wife is a liar. I've suspected it for weeks, maybe months, but hearing it confirmed feels like being punched in the stomach. All those late nights, working on client presentations. All those weekend site visits that seemed to multiply recently. All those times she couldn't quite meet my eyes when she talked about her day. I'm still processing this when my phone pings with a calendar notification. Tessa has shared her location for a weekend booking at a cabin rental near Vail. The booking is for 2 people. My hands are shaking as I screenshot the notification. She's not even trying to hide it anymore. Maybe she wants me to find out. Maybe this is her way of ending our marriage without having to say the words. I cancel my afternoon photo session and drive to Joel's house. Joel Martinez has been my best friend since our freshman year at CU Boulder. He's one of those guys who sees through everyone's bullshit immediately, which is probably why he's never been married and works in IT security. He takes one look at my face and hands me a beer without saying hello. What happened? I tell him everything. The coffee shop conversation, the fake expo, the cabin booking. Joel listens without interrupting, which is one of the things I appreciate about him. "So what are you going to do?" he asks when I finish. I don't know. Part of me wants to drive up there and confront them. Part of me wants to pretend I never found out. And the other part? The other part wants to burn their lives to the ground. Joel nods thoughtfully. "Let's start with documentation. You're going to need evidence for the divorce." The word divorce hits me like a physical blow. I haven't even processed the affair yet, and we're already talking about lawyers. "I don't know if I want a divorce." "Grant." Joel's voice is gentle but firm. "She's screwing another man in a cabin she booked with your shared credit card. What exactly are you trying to save here?" He's right, but admitting it feels like giving up on 15 years of my life. We spend the afternoon gathering evidence. Joel, with his IT background, helps me access our shared accounts and phone records. What we find is worse than I expected. The cabin booking is just the latest in a series of romantic getaways, hotel rooms in Denver when she claimed to be working late, dinner reservations for 2 at restaurants across town, charges for lingerie I've never seen her wear. This has been going on for at least 4 months, Joel says, scrolling through credit card statements. Maybe longer. 4 months. I think back to January, trying to remember what changed. That's when Evan started the kitchen renovation. That's when Tessa started working longer hours. That's when she stopped reaching for me in bed. My phone buzzes with a text from Tessa. Made it safely. Signal is terrible up here, so don't worry if you can't reach me. Love you. I show the message to Joel, who makes a disgusted noise. She's really committed to this lie. Should I respond? Yeah. Act normal. Don't let her know you know anything yet. I text back. Glad you made it safe. Have fun at the expo. Love you too. It physically hurts to type those words. That evening, I'm home alone, eating leftover Chinese food and trying to watch TV, when my phone starts buzzing. Tessa's name appears on the screen. I let it go to voicemail. Then it rings again. And again. By the time it stops, I have 27 missed calls and a voicemail notification that shows 27 messages. 27. My hands are shaking as I open the voicemail app. The first message is timestamped at 8:47 p.m. Grant, hi, it's me. I just wanted to say goodnight. Call me back when you get this. Her voice sounds normal, maybe a little breathless. I skip to the second message. Hey, it's me again. I know you're probably busy editing photos or something, but I really want to talk to you. Call me. The third message, recorded just 3 minutes later, has a different tone. Grant, seriously, why aren't you answering? I'm getting worried. Are you okay? By the fifth message, she sounds panicked. Something's wrong. You always answer your phone. I'm freaking out here. Please call me back. I skip ahead to message number 15. Her voice is slurred now, like she's been drinking. I know you're mad about something. I don't know what I did, but I'm sorry, okay? I'm really sorry. Just please call me back. Message 20. Are you having an affair? Is that why you won't answer? Because if you are, we can work through it. I love you, Grant. I love you so much. The irony is staggering. She's accusing me of having an affair while she's literally in bed with another man. Message 25. I can't lose you. You're everything to me. I know I've been distant lately, but it's just work stress. I promise things will be better when I get home. The final message, recorded at 11:23 p.m., is barely coherent. Grant, please, I'm begging you. I can't sleep not knowing if we're okay. I need you to tell me we're okay. I need you to tell me you love me, please. I sit in my dark living room, staring at my phone, trying to process what I just heard. 27 messages of escalating panic because I didn't answer my phone for a few hours. From a woman who's cheating on me with our contractor. The psychology of it is fascinating and horrifying. She's so consumed with guilt that my silence feels like an accusation. She's projecting her own betrayal onto me, convinced that I must be doing what she's doing. Or maybe she's just that good of a liar, and this is all an elaborate performance designed to throw me off the scent. I call Joel. She left me 27 voicemails, I say without preamble. Jesus, what did they say? I give him the highlights. He's quiet for a long moment. Grant, that's not normal behavior, even for someone who's cheating. What do you mean? I mean, she's either having a complete psychological breakdown or she's the most manipulative person I've ever heard of. Either way, you need to be careful. Careful how? Document everything. Record phone calls if it's legal in Colorado. Save all these voicemails. If this gets ugly, you're going to need proof that she's unstable. After we hang up, I listen to all 27 messages again, taking notes this time. The escalation is clear. Worry, panic, guilt, accusation, manipulation, desperation. I don't call her back. Instead, I pour myself 3 fingers of whiskey and sit on my couch, staring at the photo on our mantel from our wedding day. We look so young, so happy, so certain that we'd figured out something that eluded everyone else. The woman in that photo wouldn't cheat on me. The woman in that photo wouldn't lie about weekend business trips. The woman in that photo wouldn't leave 27 increasingly unhinged voicemails because her husband didn't answer his phone for a few hours. But maybe I never really knew that woman at all. Sunday evening, I'm pretending to edit photos when I hear Tessa's car in the driveway. My heart starts pounding like I'm the one who's been cheating. She comes through the front door looking radiant in a way I haven't seen in months. Her hair has that just-had connection messiness that she's tried to tame, and she's wearing the necklace I bought her like some kind of twisted trophy. "Hi, honey," she says, dropping her bag and coming over to kiss me. "I missed you so much." She tastes like mint and guilt. "How was the expo?" I ask, not looking up from my computer. "Oh, boring presentations, networking events. I'm just glad to be home." She's good. If I didn't know better, I'd believe her completely. "You seemed worried about me Friday night," I say casually. "All those voicemails." Her face goes pale. "I was just concerned when you didn't answer. It's not like you." "I was working. Had my phone on silent." "Of course. I'm sorry I overreacted." She hovers behind my desk chair, and I can feel her anxiety radiating like heat. She wants to ask if I listened to the messages, but she can't without revealing how unhinged they were. "Did you get my texts about the kitchen faucet?" she asks, changing the subject. "What about it?" "It's acting up again. I think we need to call Evan." The casual way she says his name makes my skin crawl. She's standing in our living room, fresh from a weekend of sleeping with him, suggesting we invite him back into our house. "I'll take a look at it," I say. "You don't know anything about plumbing." "I'll figure it out." She gives me a strange look but doesn't push it. Instead, she goes upstairs to unpack, humming the same song she was humming Friday night. I wait until I hear the shower running, then I go through her suitcase. Her clothes smell like unfamiliar cologne and closeness. There's a receipt from a restaurant in Vail, dinner for two, dated Saturday night. A wine cork in her makeup bag like some kind of souvenir. A hotel key card that she forgot to throw away. But it's the lingerie that breaks something inside me. Red lace that I've never seen before, still tagged, like she bought it specifically for him. I take photos of everything with my phone, then put it all back exactly as I found it. That night, she tries to initiate closeness for the first time in weeks. I can't do it. I make an excuse about being tired, and she doesn't push, but I can feel her watching me in the dark. Monday morning, she leaves for work like nothing happened. I wait an hour, then drive to her office. Tessa works for Meridian Design, a mid-sized interior design firm downtown. I've been there dozens of times for company parties and client events. The receptionist, Katie, knows me well. "Grant, how nice to see you. Tessa's not in yet." "Actually, I wanted to talk to Carla about a project." Carla Hendricks is Tessa's business partner and the firm's co-owner. She's a sharp woman in her late 40s who's never particularly liked me, though I've never understood why. "Grant," Carla says when Katie brings me to her office, "this is unexpected. I wanted to ask about the design expo in Boulder this weekend. Tessa said it was really informative." Carla's face goes blank. "Design expo?" "The one Tessa attended Friday through Sunday. She said several people from the firm were going." "Grant, we didn't send anyone to Boulder this weekend. We don't have the budget for conferences right now." The words hang in the air between us. Carla realizes what she's just revealed, and her expression shifts from confusion to pity. "I'm sorry," she says quietly. "I thought you knew." "Knew what?" Carla closes her office door and gestures for me to sit down. "Tessa has been taking a lot of personal days lately. Long lunches, early departures. I've been concerned about her productivity." "How long has this been going on?" "Since January, maybe February. I've talked to her about it several times, but she always has an excuse. Client meetings, site visits, family emergencies." January. The same time the kitchen renovation started. "Has she mentioned anyone named Evan?" Carla nods grimly. "She talks about him constantly. At first, I thought he was just a contractor you'd hired, but the way she talks about him, she trails off. What way? Like a schoolgirl with a crush. It's been obvious to everyone in the office. Everyone in the office. The humiliation hits me like a physical blow. Not only is my wife cheating on me, but her co-workers have been watching it happen, probably gossiping about the oblivious husband who doesn't know his wife is screwing the contractor. I thank Carla and leave, my face burning with embarrassment. In my car, I call Joel. Her business partner knows, I say. Everyone at her office knows. Jesus, Grant, I'm sorry. I feel like the biggest idiot in Denver. You're not an idiot. You trusted your wife. That's what married people do. What married people do is not sleep with the contractor while their husband buys them jewelry. Joel is quiet for a moment. What's your next move? I don't know. Part of me wants to confront her tonight. Part of me wants to hire a private investigator. Part of me wants to call a lawyer. What does your gut tell you? My gut tells me that my marriage is over, that the woman I've loved for 15 years is a stranger, and that I need to start thinking about protecting myself instead of trying to save something that's already over. My gut tells me to burn it all down. Then maybe you should listen to your gut. That afternoon, I make 3 phone calls. First, to a divorce attorney named Rachel Kim, who comes highly recommended. Second, to our bank to get copies of all account statements for the past 6 months. Third, to a locksmith. If Tessa wants to play games, I'm going to make sure I win. Tuesday evening, I'm waiting in the living room when Tessa gets home from work. She takes one look at my face and knows something has changed. We need to talk, I say. She sets down her purse slowly, like she's buying time to think. Okay, what about? About where you really were this weekend. The color drains from her face, but she doesn't break character. I told you, I was at the design expo in Boulder. Tessa, I called the Boulder Convention Center. There was no expo. She opens her mouth, then closes it, then opens it again like a fish gasping for air. I talked to Carla, I continue. She doesn't know anything about a company trip to Boulder. Grant, I can explain. I saw the hotel receipt in your suitcase. I saw the lingerie you bought for him. I heard you talking to him at the coffee shop Friday morning. She collapses into the armchair across from me, her hands shaking. How long? I ask. It's not what you think. How long, Tessa? Since March. 4 months. 4 months of lies, of fake business trips, of her coming home to me after being with him. Do you love him? She doesn't answer, which is an answer. Do you love me? Of course I love you. You're my husband. That's not what I asked. She starts crying, the kind of ugly crying that makes her mascara run. Part of me wants to comfort her, the same way I've comforted her through 15 years of disappointments and setbacks, but a bigger part of me feels nothing but disgust. I never meant for this to happen, she says through her tears. But it did happen. For 4 months it happened. It was just supposed to be, I don't know, a distraction, something exciting. A distraction from what? From me? From our marriage? From everything. From feeling old and boring and invisible. So you slept with our contractor? She flinches at the crude language. I've never talked to her like this before. But then again, she's never cheated on me before. It's over, she says. I'll end it. We can go to counseling. We can fix this. You think I want to fix this? Don't you? I look at her sitting there in our living room wearing the necklace I bought her, crying about how sorry she is, and I realize that I don't know this person. Maybe I never did. I want you to leave, I say. What? Pack a bag and leave. Go stay with your sister. Go stay with Evan. I don't care. But I want you out of this house tonight. Grant, please. We can work through this. No, we can't. You're not even going to try? You didn't try to stay faithful to me. You didn't try to end it before it started. You didn't try to tell me the truth. Why should I try to save something you already destroyed? She cries harder, and I feel nothing. It's like watching a stranger have a breakdown in my living room. What about our friends? What about our life together? What about them? You want me to pretend this never happened so you don't have to face the consequences? I can't lose everything. You should have thought about that before you started sleeping with Evan. She goes upstairs to pack, and I can hear her sobbing through the ceiling. I pour myself a drink and sit on the couch, trying to process the fact that my marriage just ended. An hour later, she comes downstairs with a suitcase and red, swollen eyes. I'm staying at Madison's, she says. Madison is her best friend from college, a woman who's never liked me and probably encouraged this affair. Fine. Grant, I know you hate me right now, but I do love you. I've always loved you. You have a funny way of showing it. She reaches for the door, then turns back. What are you going to tell people? The truth. Please don't. Not until we figure out if we can fix this. There's nothing to fix, Tessa. We're getting divorced. The word hits her like a slap. She starts crying again, but I don't comfort her. Instead, I walk to the front door and hold it open. Goodbye, Tessa. She walks out into the night, and I close the door behind her. Then I lock-bolt it and put the chain on, like I'm locking out more than just my cheating wife. I'm locking out 15 years of my life. The next morning, I wake up in my empty house and feel something I haven't felt in months. Relief. No more wondering where Tessa really is. No more analyzing her behavior for signs of deception. No more pretending everything is fine when it obviously isn't. I make coffee and call in sick to work. Then I start making a list of everyone I need to tell. Joel is first. How did she take it? He asks. Like someone who got caught cheating and is facing consequences for the first time in her life. Are you okay? I think so. Is that weird? Not at all. You've been mourning this marriage for months. Last night just made it official. Next, I call my sister in Phoenix. Lisa has never been Tessa's biggest fan, so she takes the news with less surprise than I expected. I'm sorry, Grant, but I saw this coming. You did? The way she talked about that contractor at Christmas, it was obvious she had feelings for him. Christmas. They were already involved at Christmas, and she brought him up in conversation with my family. The audacity is breathtaking. Why didn't you say anything? What was I supposed to say? Hey, Grant, I think your wife wants to sleep with your contractor. You would have thought I was crazy. She's right. I would have defended Tessa, accused Lisa of being jealous or bitter about her own divorce. What are you going to do now? Lisa asks. Lawyer up, document everything, make sure she doesn't get to rewrite history. Good. Don't let her play the victim here. My phone starts buzzing with texts while I'm talking to Lisa, all from Tessa. I'm so sorry. Please give me another chance. I ended it with Evan. It's over. I choose you. We can go to counseling. We can fix this. Please don't give up on us. I show them to Joel when he comes over that afternoon. She's panicking, he says. Reality is setting in. What reality? That she's about to lose everything. The house, the lifestyle, the respectability. Half your assets if she's lucky. She makes good money. Not good enough to maintain the life you've built together. Plus, her reputation is about to be destroyed. Affairs have consequences in professional circles. I hadn't thought about that. Tessa's business depends on referrals from wealthy clients who value discretion and respectability. A messy divorce involving adultery won't be good for her career. You almost sound like you feel sorry for her, I say. I don't, but I understand why she's desperate. That evening, Tessa calls. I let it go to voicemail, but she calls back immediately. And again. By the time she gives up, she's left 12 messages. I listen to the first one. Grant, please pick up. I know you're angry, but we need to talk about this like adults. The last one. Fine. Don't answer. But you can't avoid me forever. We have 15 years together. That has to count for something. She's right about one thing. We do have 15 years together. 15 years of shared history, mutual friends, intertwined finances, and social connections, which is why I'm not surprised when Tom Bradley calls the next morning. Tom and his wife, Jennifer, have been our closest friends since we moved to Denver. We vacation together, celebrate holidays together, and serve as each other's emergency contacts. Tom is also Evan's business partner. Grant, we need to talk. About what? You know what? Tessa called Jennifer last night crying. She says you threw her out over some misunderstanding. Is that what she's calling it? What would you call it? An affair, a 4-month affair with your business partner. Tom is quiet for a long moment. She said it was just an emotional connection, that nothing physical happened. Tom, I have hotel receipts. I have credit card statements. I have evidence of them spending weekends together. Jesus, Grant, I had no idea. Did you know they were close? I knew Evan was working on your kitchen, but I didn't think... Shit. This is going to complicate things. How so? Jennifer and Tessa are best friends, and Evan is my business partner. This affects all of us. I can hear the resentment in his voice, and it pisses me off. I'm not the one who created this situation, Tom. I know, but now we all have to deal with the fallout. Poor you. That's not what I meant. It's exactly what you meant. You're mad at me for exposing this because it makes your life more complicated. I'm not mad at you. I'm just trying to figure out how to handle this. Here's how you handle it. You stop doing business with the man who was screwing your friend's wife, and you stop making excuses for the woman who destroyed her marriage. It's not that simple. It's exactly that simple. Tom sighs. Jennifer wants to have dinner this weekend. All 4 of us. She thinks we can work through this. All 4 of us? You, Tessa, me, and Jennifer. You want me to have dinner with my cheating wife and pretend everything is fine? I want you to try to save your marriage. My marriage is over, Tom. Tessa made that decision when she started sleeping with Evan. Grant, come on. People make mistakes. 4 months isn't a mistake. It's a choice. After I hang up, I realize something that shouldn't surprise me but does. Our friends are going to choose sides, and some of them aren't going to choose mine. That afternoon, Jennifer calls. Grant, I think you're being too harsh. Excuse me? Tessa made a mistake, but she loves you. She's willing to do whatever it takes to fix this. Did she tell you she bought lingerie for him? Did she tell you about the hotel rooms and the fake business trips? She said you're exaggerating. I have receipts, Jennifer, literal receipts. Maybe you should look at why she strayed instead of just blaming her. The victim blaming is so blatant, it takes my breath away. Are you seriously suggesting this is my fault? I'm suggesting that marriages are complicated and maybe you both made mistakes. What mistakes did I make? Working too much? Not buying her enough jewelry? Not paying enough attention to her? I don't know, Grant. But I know Tessa, and she wouldn't do this unless she was really unhappy. So she should have talked to me, or asked for a divorce. She shouldn't have started screwing our contractor. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. Well, your honesty is going to cost you your marriage and your friendships. After she hangs up, I sit in my empty house and realize that Tessa isn't the only person I'm losing. I'm losing the friends who think adultery is forgivable as long as you're really sorry afterward. I'm losing the social circle that values maintaining appearances over acknowledging reality. Maybe that's not such a bad thing. Friday afternoon, I'm in my lawyer's office signing papers when Rachel Kim looks up from her notes. Your wife's attorney called this morning. She hired a lawyer? David Morrison. He's expensive and aggressive. He wants to meet next week to discuss settlement terms. What kind of settlement terms? Spousal support, asset division, the usual. But Grant, there's something you should know. Morrison specializes in high-conflict divorces. He's not interested in amicable splits. Meaning your wife is preparing for war. I drive home thinking about that phrase. Preparing for war. Like our 15-year marriage is now a battlefield where the goal is to inflict maximum damage on the enemy. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. We need to talk. Evan. I stare at the message for a full minute before responding. No, we don't. Yes, we do. Meet me at Murphy's bar at 7. Come alone. The audacity is stunning. The man who's been sleeping with my wife for 4 months wants to have a drink and chat about it. I text back, go deal with your own nonsense. I'll be there until 8. This is important. Against my better judgment, I find myself driving to Murphy's at 6:45. I tell myself I'm going to tell Evan exactly what I think of him, but really, I'm curious. What could he possibly want to say to me? Murphy's is a dive bar near downtown, the kind of place where construction workers go after work to complain about their bosses. Evan is sitting in a corner booth, nursing a beer and looking like a man who hasn't slept in days. He stands when he sees me, and for a moment I think he's going to try to shake my hand. Instead, he just nods toward the empty chair across from him. Thanks for coming. I'm here. Talk. He takes a long drink of his beer, gathering courage. I want you to know that I never meant for this to happen. But it did happen. Yeah, it did. For 4 months. Yeah. I order a whiskey from the waitress and study Evan's face. He's a good-looking guy in a rugged, blue-collar way, the kind of man who works with his hands and probably has a truck with a gun rack. The opposite of me in every way that matters. What do you want, Evan? I want you to know that Tessa loves you. She has a funny way of showing it. She does. She talks about you all the time. How smart you are, how talented, how much she admires your work. And yet she was sleeping with you. He flinches. It wasn't supposed to be about closeness. What was it supposed to be about? I don't know. Connection, I guess. She said she felt invisible in her marriage. So you made her feel visible by taking her to hotel rooms? It wasn't like that. What was it like? He struggles for words, and I realize he's not very bright. He's the kind of man who acts on impulse and justifies it later. She was lonely, he finally says. She was married. Unhappily married. According to who? Her? She said you two barely talked anymore, that you lived like roommates. And you believed her. Why would she lie? The question is so naive it's almost endearing. This man genuinely doesn't understand that cheating wives always paint their husbands as neglectful monsters to justify their affairs. Did she tell you I was abusive? I ask. No, nothing like that. Just distant. Did she tell you our private life was over? He looks uncomfortable. She said you two weren't intimate very often. We had closeness 3 weeks ago, Evan, the night before you two went to that hotel in Cherry Creek. His face goes pale. She said you hadn't touched her in months. She lied. Why would she lie about that? Because it's easier to justify cheating if you convince yourself and your lover that your marriage is already over. He stares into his beer like it might offer some explanation for how he ended up here. I think I love her, he says quietly. No, you don't. How would you know? Because if you loved her, you wouldn't have let her destroy her marriage for you. You would have told her to work things out with her husband or get a divorce first. Maybe you're right. I know I'm right. We sit in silence for a few minutes. The bar is filling up with the after-work crowd, blue-collar guys who probably know Evan and are wondering why he's having an intense conversation with a man in khakis and a button-down shirt. What happens now? Evan asks. Now you stay away from my wife while we get divorced. And if I don't? The question surprises me. Are you threatening me? No, I'm asking what you'll do if Tessa and I keep seeing each other. I lean across the table, close enough to smell the beer on his breath. Evan, I'm a photographer. I document things for a living. I have pictures of hotel receipts, credit card statements, and text messages. I have evidence of you two together that would make your wife very interested in her own divorce attorney. His face goes white. You wouldn't. Try me. I'm not married. No, but your business partner Tom is married to my wife's best friend. How do you think this affair is going to affect your working relationship? How do you think it's going to affect your reputation in the construction industry when word gets out that you screw your clients' wives? He hadn't thought of that. I can see the realization dawning on his face that his actions have consequences beyond just getting laid. You could ruin me, he says. Yes, I could. But you won't if I stay away from Tessa. I might not. That's not much of a guarantee. I finish my whiskey and stand up. Evan, you slept with my wife for 4 months. You don't get guarantees. I leave him sitting in the bar, staring at his beer, and probably wondering how something that felt so good could go so wrong so quickly. On my way home, Tessa calls. I almost don't answer, but curiosity gets the better of me. Evan told me you two talked. Is that what he called it? Grant, please, we need to stop this before it gets out of hand. It's already out of hand. You made sure of that when you started cheating. I know you're angry. I'm not angry, Tessa. I'm done. What does that mean? It means I'm not interested in working this out. I'm not interested in counseling. I'm not interested in giving you another chance. But we're married. We have a life together. We had a life together. Grant, please, I'll do anything. There's nothing you can do. What if I told you Evan forced himself on me? What if I said it wasn't consensual? The lie is so outrageous it leaves me speechless for a moment. Are you seriously going to claim rape now? I'm saying maybe I wasn't thinking clearly. Maybe I was coerced. By the man you've been voluntarily meeting in hotel rooms for 4 months? You don't understand the psychological pressure. I hang up. Within minutes, she's calling back. I let it go to voicemail. She calls 6 more times, leaving increasingly desperate messages. The final message is the most telling. Fine, Grant. If you want to play hardball, we'll play hardball, but don't expect me to make this easy for you. I save all the messages and email them to my lawyer. If Tessa wants to play hardball, she's about to find out that her husband learned a few things about documentation and evidence during his photography career. And unlike her, I've been preparing for this war since the day I found out about her affair. Monday morning, I wake up to find my car keyed and my mailbox knocked over. There's no proof Tessa or Evan did it, but the timing is suspicious. I take photos and file a police report, then call my insurance company. While I'm on hold, Joel calls. Have you seen Facebook this morning? No. Why? Tessa posted something you need to see. I log into Facebook for the first time in weeks. Tessa's post is at the top of my feed. Going through a difficult time right now. Sometimes the people you trust most are the ones who hurt you deepest. I'm grateful for friends who stand by me when my world falls apart. Blessed, Shakurin strong women, Shakar moving forward. The post has 37 likes and 22 comments, all from women expressing support and asking what happened. Tessa hasn't responded to any of them, but the implication is clear. I'm the bad guy in this story. I scroll through the comments and see names I recognize. Jennifer Bradley, Madison Walsh, several women from Tessa's book club, even my own sister-in-law. So sorry you're going through this, hun. You deserve better. Stay strong, beautiful. His loss. You're better off without him. Call me if you need anything. The narrative is already being written, and I'm the villain. I call Rachel Kim. My wife is conducting a social media campaign against me. What kind of campaign? I read her the Facebook post and some of the comments. That's pretty standard, Rachel says. Divorcing spouses often try to control the narrative early. Can I respond? You can, but I wouldn't recommend it. Anything you post can be used against you later. Let her dig her own hole. What do you mean? People aren't stupid, Grant. If she keeps playing the victim without explaining what actually happened, they'll start asking questions. And when the truth comes out, she'll look like a liar and a manipulator. That afternoon, Tom Bradley calls. We need to talk. About what? About Evan. I'm dissolving our partnership. Because of the affair? Because he's a liability. Word is getting around that he sleeps with clients' wives. That's not good for business. I feel a small surge of satisfaction. Evan's actions are starting to have real consequences. I'm sorry this affects your business, Tom. Are you, though? What's that supposed to mean? Jennifer thinks you're trying to destroy everyone involved in this. I'm trying to protect myself in a divorce. By ruining Evan's career? Evan ruined his own career when he decided to screw married women. And what about Tessa? Are you trying to ruin her career too? I'm trying to get divorced without being financially destroyed by a cheating spouse. Tom is quiet for a moment. Jennifer wants to stay friends with both of you. That's her choice. But you're making it difficult. How am I making it difficult? By refusing to forgive and move on. Tom, would you forgive Jennifer if she cheated on you for 4 months? I don't know. I hope I'd try to work it out. Well, I'm not you. No, you're not. You're being vindictive. I'm being realistic. After he hangs up, I realize I've lost Tom and Jennifer's friendship. They've chosen Tessa's side, not because they approve of adultery, but because they're uncomfortable with my refusal to play the role of the forgiving husband. That evening, Madison Walsh calls. I haven't spoken to Tessa's best friend in months, so I'm surprised to see her name on my phone. Grant, we need to talk. About what? About what you're doing to Tessa. What am I doing to Tessa? You're destroying her life. I'm getting divorced. You're being cruel and vindictive. How am I being cruel? She's staying on my couch, crying every night. She's lost weight. She's not sleeping. She's barely functioning at work. That sounds like guilt and consequences. That sounds like a woman who made a mistake and is paying for it. A 4-month mistake. She ended it, Grant. The affair is over. Because I found out, not because she developed a conscience. She wants to fight for your marriage. There's nothing left to fight for. How can you say that? You loved her for 15 years. I love the woman I thought she was. That woman doesn't exist. People change, Grant. People grow. People also lie and cheat and destroy their marriages. Madison is quiet for a moment. Then her tone shifts. Fine. If you won't listen to reason, maybe you'll listen to this. Tessa is prepared to make your life very difficult. Is that a threat? It's a warning. She knows things about you, Grant, things that might come out in a messy divorce. What things? I think you know. I genuinely don't know what she's talking about, but I'm not going to give her the satisfaction of asking. Tell Tessa that if she wants to play dirty, I have 4 months of evidence that will make her look like exactly what she is. And what's that? A liar and a cheat. After Madison hangs up, I sit in my kitchen trying to figure out what things Tessa might know about me. I've never cheated, never been arrested, never done anything worse than occasional recreational marijuana use in college. Then it hits me. She's going to lie. She's going to claim I was abusive or neglectful or unfaithful. She's going to invent stories that paint me as the real villain in our marriage. And some people will believe her because it's easier than accepting that someone they like is capable of sustained deception. I call Rachel Kim and leave a voicemail. We need to talk about defense strategies. I think my wife is planning to make false accusations. That night, I can't sleep. I keep thinking about Tessa sitting on Madison's couch, planning her next move. The woman I married was never vindictive, but maybe I never really knew her at all. Maybe the person who could lie for 4 months about weekend business trips is also the person who could lie in court about domestic abuse. Maybe I'm about to find out exactly how dirty this divorce is going to get. Wednesday morning, I'm editing photos when the doorbell rings. Through the peephole, I see a sheriff's deputy holding an envelope. Grant Holloway? Yes. You've been served. The restraining order is 2 pages of legal language that boil down to this. Tessa claims I've been harassing and threatening her, and I'm now legally prohibited from contacting her or coming within 500 feet of her workplace. I call Rachel Kim immediately. This is standard strategy, she says after I read her the order. She's trying to make you look like the aggressor. But I haven't harassed her. What about the conversation with Evan at Murphy's bar? That was him asking to meet, not me harassing anyone. Can you prove that? I check my phone and screenshot the text thread where Evan initiated the meeting. Yes. Good. Save everything. What about contact with Tessa? Phone calls that I didn't initiate and one confrontation at our house when I asked her to leave. Any witnesses to threats or aggressive behavior? No, because there weren't any threats or aggressive behavior. Then we'll fight this. But Grant, you need to be very careful now. Don't contact her. Don't go to her office. Don't do anything that could be construed as harassment. What if she contacts me? Document it, but don't respond. That afternoon, as if she knows about our conversation, Tessa calls. I let it go to voicemail. Grant, I know you got the restraining order. I didn't want to do that, but you left me no choice. You've been scaring me with your anger and threats. I just want to feel safe while we work through this. The performance is Oscar-worthy. Her voice shakes with just the right amount of fear, and she sounds like a woman protecting herself from an abusive husband rather than a cheater facing consequences. I save the voicemail and email it to Rachel with a note. She called me 3 hours after getting a restraining order that prohibits me from contacting her. 20 minutes later, Tessa calls again. I've been thinking about what you said about Evan forcing himself on me, and I think you might be right. I think I was coerced. I want to talk to the police about filing charges. I stare at my phone in disbelief. She's actually going to claim rape to avoid responsibility for her affair. I don't respond, but I save the voicemail and forward it to Rachel with a note. Now she's threatening to file false rape charges against her lover. Rachel calls me back within an hour. Grant, your wife is either having a complete breakdown or she's the most manipulative person I've ever encountered. Which do you think it is? Honestly, I think she's panicking. The restraining order was supposed to make you back down and agree to a quick, favorable settlement. When that didn't work, she escalated to threats of criminal charges. What's her endgame? She wants you to be so afraid of public humiliation and legal trouble that you'll give her everything she wants in the divorce. And if I don't? Then she'll follow through on her threats and hope a judge believes her over you. That evening, Joel comes over with beer and takeout Chinese food. How are you holding up? I feel like I'm living in an alternate reality where I'm the bad guy for being cheated on. That's because Tessa is rewriting history. She has to make you the villain to justify her behavior. But people believe her. Some people believe her. Others are starting to ask questions. What kind of questions? I ran into Steve Morrison at the gym yesterday. You know, the guy from your photography group? I nod. Steve is a wedding photographer who's known both Tessa and me for years. He said Jennifer Bradley approached him at a coffee shop, trying to get him to agree that you've been difficult lately. When he asked what she meant, she couldn't give any specific examples. What did Steve say? He said you've seemed happier in the past week than you have in months. It's true. Despite the legal drama and social complications, I do feel lighter. The constant anxiety of wondering what Tessa is really doing has been replaced by the clarity of knowing exactly where I stand. People are starting to notice that Tessa's story doesn't add up, Joel continues. She claims you're abusive and threatening, but she keeps calling you. She says she wants to save the marriage, but she filed for divorce and got a restraining order. Maybe people aren't as stupid as I thought. The smart ones aren't. But Grant, you need to be prepared for this to get worse before it gets better. He's right. That night, I get a call from my boss at the photography studio. Grant, I got a strange call today. A woman claiming to be your wife said you've been unstable lately and might not be reliable for client work. What did you tell her? I told her that your personal life is none of my business as long as your work doesn't suffer. But Grant, what the hell is going on? I give him the basic facts: affair, divorce, false accusations. Jesus, I'm sorry, man. Do you need some time off? No, I need to work. It's the only thing keeping me sane. All right, but if she calls again, I'm not taking her calls. After we hang up, I realize Tessa is trying to destroy not just my marriage and social circle, but my career as well. I call Rachel Kim. She's contacting my employer now. That might actually work in our favor. How? Because it shows a pattern of harassment that contradicts her claims that she's afraid of you. A woman who's genuinely afraid of her husband doesn't call his boss to sabotage his career. So, what do? We document everything and wait for her to overplay her hand. She's getting desperate, which means she's going to make mistakes. What if she doesn't make mistakes? Grant, she's already made mistakes. She called you after getting a restraining order. She threatened false rape charges in a voicemail. She's harassing your employer. The question isn't whether she'll make mistakes. It's whether we can make a judge see them for what they are. That night, I lie in bed thinking about the woman I married 15 years ago. She was ambitious and sometimes manipulative, but I never thought she was capable of this level of vindictive destruction. Maybe desperation changes people. Maybe facing the loss of everything you've built makes you willing to do things you never thought you'd do. Or maybe I never really knew her at all. Either way, I'm about to find out exactly how far she's willing to go to win this war she started. 2 weeks later, I'm in Rachel Kim's office reviewing our divorce strategy when her assistant knocks on the door. There's a Detective Martinez here to see Mr. Holloway. My stomach drops. Tessa actually did it. She filed rape charges against Evan and probably implicated me somehow. Detective Martinez is a middle-aged Hispanic woman with tired eyes and a no-nonsense attitude. Mr. Holloway, I need to ask you some questions about your relationship with Evan Cross. What about it? Your wife claims that you threatened Mr. Cross and may have been involved in vandalizing his property. What property? Someone slashed the tires on his truck and spray-painted homewrecker on his garage door. I almost laugh. And she thinks I did that? Did you? No, I haven't seen Evan since we met at Murphy's Bar 3 weeks ago. Can you account for your whereabouts last Tuesday night between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m.? I check my phone calendar. I was editing photos at home. I can show you the timestamps on the files. Detective Martinez takes notes while I pull up my work files on my laptop. The timestamps clearly show me working on client photos until after midnight. Mr. Holloway, your wife also claims that you've been stalking her and making threatening phone calls. I have a restraining order that prohibits me from contacting her. Why would I violate that? People do stupid things when they're angry, Rachel Kim interjects. Detective, my client has documentation showing that Mrs. Holloway has been the one initiating contact in violation of her own restraining order. I show Detective Martinez the voicemails and call logs on my phone. She's called me 17 times since getting the restraining order. I haven't answered or returned any of the calls. Detective Martinez reviews the evidence, her expression growing skeptical. Mrs. Holloway said you've been calling her workplace and threatening her co-workers. I called her workplace once 2 weeks before the restraining order to ask about a business trip she claimed to have taken. That's when I discovered she'd been lying about her whereabouts. And you haven't contacted anyone at her office since then? No! Detective Martinez closes her notebook. Mr. Holloway, I have to ask, do you think your wife might be making false accusations? The question surprises me with its directness. Yes, I do. Why would she do that? Because she's trying to gain an advantage in our divorce proceedings by making me look like an abuser and stalker. That's a serious accusation. So is falsely claiming someone is harassing and threatening you. Detective Martinez looks at Rachel Kim. Counselor, are you planning to use this evidence in divorce proceedings? Absolutely. Mrs. Holloway's pattern of false accusations and harassment will be central to our case. After the detective leaves, Rachel and I sit in her office processing what just happened. "This is good for us," Rachel says. "Tessa overplayed her hand." "How so?" "She made specific claims to police that can be easily disproven. When Detective Martinez files her report saying there's no evidence to support Tessa's accusations, we can use that in court." "What about the vandalism to Evan's truck?" "What about it? You have an alibi, and there's no evidence linking you to it." "Who do you think actually did it?" Rachel shrugs. "Could have been anyone. Evan's made a lot of enemies lately. Could have been another woman he's been involved with, or an angry husband, or just random vandalism. Or it could have been Tessa herself." Rachel raises an eyebrow. "That's an interesting theory. Think about it. She needs evidence that I'm dangerous and unhinged. What better way to create that evidence than to vandalize her lover's property and blame me for it? That would be incredibly risky. So is filing false police reports, but she's already done that." That afternoon, I get a call from an unknown number. "Grant? This is Carol Cross, Evan's mother." I'm so surprised I almost hang up. "Mrs. Cross, I wanted to apologize for my son's behavior. What he did to your marriage was wrong." "Thank you. That means a lot. I also wanted you to know that Evan didn't vandalize his own truck." "I never said he did." "No, but the police asked him about it. They wanted to know if he might have done it for insurance money or to frame someone." "What did he tell them?" "The truth. That he was at work until 11 p.m. Tuesday night, then went home and went to bed. His roommate confirmed it." "Mrs. Cross, why are you telling me this?" "Because I think your wife did it." The words hang in the air between us. "Why would you think that?" "Because she called Evan yesterday screaming at him for not backing up her story about you being violent. She said he was supposed to tell police that you threatened to eliminate him." "Did he tell police that?" "No. He told them the truth, that you never threatened him with violence." "And Tessa was angry about that?" "Furious. She said he was ruining everything and that she'd done enough for him already." "What did she mean by that?" "I think she meant the vandalism. I think she damaged his truck to create evidence against you, and now she's angry that it didn't work." After Mrs. Cross hangs up, I call Rachel Kim and relay the conversation. "This keeps getting better," Rachel says. "If we can prove Tessa vandalized Evan's property to frame you, her credibility will be completely destroyed." "How do we prove it?" "We start by subpoenaing her phone records to see if she was in Evan's neighborhood Tuesday night. We also look for any purchases of spray paint or other vandalism supplies." "And if we can't prove it?" "We don't need to prove it. We just need to raise reasonable doubt about her accusations. Between the false police reports, the violations of her own restraining order, and now this suspicious vandalism, she's painted herself as an unreliable witness." That evening, I'm home editing photos when my doorbell rings. Through the peephole, I see Tessa standing on my front porch. She's violating her own restraining order by being here, but I'm not stupid enough to open the door. Instead, I call 911. I'd like to report a restraining order violation. While I'm on the phone with the dispatcher, Tessa starts pounding on the door. "Grant, I know you're in there. We need to talk." I turn on my phone's video camera and record her through the window. "Grant, please. I'm sorry about everything. I just want to fix this." The police arrive within 10 minutes. I watch through my window as they approach Tessa, who immediately starts crying and claiming that I called her and told her to come over. One of the officers comes to my door while the other deals with Tessa. "Sir, did you contact Mrs. Holloway and ask her to come here?" "No, officer. I have a video of her pounding on my door and demanding that I let her in." I show him the video on my phone. "She claims you called her." "Check her phone records, check mine. I haven't called her in over a month." The officer takes my statement and reviews the restraining order paperwork. 20 minutes later, Tessa is arrested for violating the protective order. As the police car drives away with my wife in the back seat, I realize this nightmare might finally be coming to an end. She's destroyed her own credibility with false accusations, harassment, and now a clear violation of a court order. Tomorrow, I'll call Rachel Kim and tell her it's time to go on the offensive. The next morning, I wake up to 17 missed calls and 43 text messages, all from Madison Walsh. "Grant, you have to drop the charges against Tessa. She's having a breakdown. She needs help, not jail time. This is cruel and vindictive. She made a mistake. Don't destroy her life over it." I screenshot everything and email it to Rachel Kim with a note. More harassment from Tessa's friend. Rachel calls me an hour later. "Tessa made bail this morning. Her lawyer wants to meet today to discuss a settlement." "What kind of settlement?" "Complete capitulation. She'll withdraw all accusations, agree to an uncontested divorce, and accept a minimal asset split in exchange for you not pressing charges for the restraining order violation." "What do you recommend?" "I recommend we take the meeting but don't agree to anything yet. Let's see how desperate she really is." That afternoon, we meet at Rachel's office. David Morrison, Tessa's lawyer, is a silver-haired man in an expensive suit who looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. Tessa sits beside him, wearing a conservative dress and no makeup, clearly trying to look like a victim rather than a perpetrator. "My client is willing to make significant concessions to resolve this matter quickly and quietly," Morrison begins. "What concessions?" Rachel asks. "Mrs. Holloway will withdraw her request for spousal support, agree to a 60-40 asset split in Mr. Holloway's favor, and retract all allegations of harassment and threats." "In exchange for?" "Mr. Holloway drops the criminal charges and agrees not to discuss the details of the marriage breakdown publicly." I look at Tessa, who won't meet my eyes. 3 weeks ago, she was demanding half of everything and claiming I was an abusive stalker. Now she's offering to walk away with almost nothing. "That's not enough," I say. Morrison looks surprised. "Mr. Holloway, this is a very generous offer." "Generous? Your client lied to police, violated a court order, harassed my employer, and possibly committed vandalism to frame me. Why would I agree to help her avoid consequences?" "Because a prolonged legal battle will be expensive and emotionally draining for everyone involved. It'll be more expensive and draining for your client than for me." Rachel leans forward. "Mr. Morrison, your client has destroyed her own credibility with a pattern of false accusations and erratic behavior. If this goes to trial, she'll be lucky to get 30% of the assets and no spousal support." Morrison whispers something to Tessa, who shakes her head violently. "My client is willing to accept a 70-30 split," Morrison says. "Not interested," I reply. "What do you want?" Tessa asks, speaking for the first time. "I want you to publicly admit that you had an affair, that you lied about me being abusive, and that you filed false police reports." "I can't do that." "Then we'll see you in court." "Grant, please." Tessa's voice breaks. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about everything. I never meant for it to go this far." "But it did go this far. You made it go this far." "I was scared. I was going to lose everything. So you decided to destroy me instead." "I wasn't thinking clearly." "You were thinking clearly enough to plan false accusations and coordinate lies with your friends." Morrison intervenes. "Mr. Holloway, what would it take for you to accept a settlement?" I look at Rachel, who nods slightly. 80-20 assets split in my favor. No spousal support, public retraction of all accusations, and a written confession detailing every lie she told about me. "That's not reasonable," Morrison says. "Neither was 4 months of adultery, followed by false accusations of abuse and stalking." Tessa starts crying, the kind of ugly, desperate crying that comes when you realize you've lost everything. "I can't admit to lying to the police. They could charge me with filing false reports. That's not my problem. Grant, I'm begging you. I'll give you everything you want, but please, don't make me confess to crimes." "You committed crimes. Why shouldn't you face consequences?" "Because I'm your wife. Because you loved me once." You stopped being my wife the day you started sleeping with Evan, and I did love you once, which is why this hurts so much. Morrison asks for a recess to consult with his client. Rachel and I step outside while they talk. She's going to take the deal, Rachel says. How do you know? Because the alternative is a trial where all of this becomes public record. Her affair, the false accusations, the harassment campaign. She'll lose her job, her reputation, and probably face criminal charges. And if she doesn't take the deal? Then we destroy her in court, and she gets even less. 20 minutes later, Morrison calls us back in. My client accepts your terms, with one modification. Instead of a public confession, she'll agree to a private written statement admitting to the affair and the false accusations. Not good enough. Grant, Tessa says, if I admit publicly to lying to police, I'll go to jail. You should have thought about that before you lied to police. Please, I'm already losing everything. My job, my friends, my marriage. Don't send me to prison too. I look at this woman who was my wife for 15 years, who I loved and trusted and built a life with, and I feel nothing but disgust. You did this to yourself, Tessa. Every single consequence you're facing is the result of choices you made. I know I did this, but please, show me some mercy. The way you showed me mercy when you were planning to destroy my reputation with false accusations. She has no answer for that. I turn to Morrison. 80-20 split, no spousal support, written confession admitting to adultery and false accusations, and she pays my legal fees. Take it or leave it. Morrison looks at Tessa, who nods through her tears. We'll take it. 3 hours later, I walk out of Rachel Kim's office with a signed divorce agreement that gives me almost everything I wanted. The house, the cars, the investment accounts, the photography equipment. Tessa gets her clothes, her personal items, and enough money to start over somewhere else. More importantly, I have a written confession where she admits to having a 4-month affair with Evan Cross and making false accusations of harassment and abuse against me. It's not the public vindication I wanted, but it's enough. That evening, Joel comes over to celebrate with expensive whiskey and takeout from my favorite restaurant. How do you feel? He asks. Free. Any regrets? About the divorce? No. About the marriage? Some. What kind of regrets? I regret not seeing who she really was sooner. I regret wasting 15 years on someone who could lie to my face for 4 months. I regret trusting someone who was capable of trying to destroy me when she got caught. Those aren't your failures, Grant. Those are hers. Maybe. But I chose her. I married her. I ignored the red flags. What red flags? I think about it. The way she lied to her parents about small things. The way she talked about her ex-boyfriends. The way she could manipulate situations to get what she wanted. Those aren't necessarily signs of someone who'll cheat. No, but they're signs of someone who's comfortable with deception. We drink in comfortable silence, watching the sunset through my living room window. What now? Joel asks. Now, I figure out how to be single again. How to trust people again. How to build a life that's actually mine instead of a compromise with someone who was lying to me. Sounds like a good plan. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. I heard about the divorce. I'm sorry it ended this way. Evan. I show the message to Joel, who laughs. Are you going to respond? No, he's not my problem anymore. What about Tessa? Think you'll ever hear from her again? I hope not, but if I do, I have a restraining order and a confession that proves she's a liar. Think she learned anything from this? I doubt it. People like Tessa don't learn. They just get better at hiding who they really are. That night, I sleep better than I have in months. For the first time in years, I don't have to wonder where my wife really is or what she's really doing. I don't have to analyze her behavior for signs of deception or worry about what lies she might be telling. I'm alone, but I'm not lonely. I'm free. And tomorrow, I'll start building a life based on truth instead of lies, on reality instead of performance, on who I actually am instead of who someone else wanted me to be. Tessa thought she could have everything, the security of marriage and the excitement of an affair. When that didn't work, she thought she could rewrite history and make me the villain. But the truth has a way of coming out, and lies have a way of catching up with the people who tell them. She lost everything because she tried to keep everything, and I won everything because I was willing to lose everything for the truth.